Hi guys, on my previous video I showed you how to cut a wide loose trouser. Okay, but on this particular video I'm not going to show you how to join that trouser. Welcome back to my channel. Alright, so the first thing you do is on the front panel, that's on the front panel of the trouser, you mark say 6.5. Alright, on the front part of the trouser. On that 6.5 you mark somewhere around 7.5, not up to 1 inch. On the crotch line you mark a little. You might not really see what I'm doing, but I'm still going to recap and show you clearly. At the back panel, at the back part of this trouser, okay, you're going to outline your lines. So now what the first thing I'm going to do is somewhere from the tip, this tip, to 8 inches, I'm going to mark 1 inch, and then I'm going to connect it all the way up. Now I'm going to recap what I'm saying, right, so that you can see it clearly, because the camera didn't just capture it well. So basically this is what I'm saying. This is the front panel of this trouser. I will measure from the up to 6.5, right, and then from that 6.5 I will mark not up to 1 inch, something like 0.7. Then on the crotch area I will pick it not up to half, okay, quarter of half, right. What that helps is that, you know, when you wear your trouser at this particular point, now your trouser sometimes pokes out. So what this thing does is to reduce the poking of the trouser. All right, I hope you understand. For the back of the trouser, I'm going to start by where I notched it and then connect to this point I marked initially, which is 1, and then connect it to this crotch area using the same measurement I used on the front crotch, which is like quarter. You get half of half, yeah, so that it can match, it can rhyme. I hope you understand. So that's just very simple. Now the next thing I'm going to do is to now cut the pocket. So for the pocket I'll cut 1.5 to 6.5. I'll connect it 1.5 by the width, 6.5 as length. So here I've cut out my trouser, and then I'm going to start cutting the pocket for my trouser. The first thing I'm going to do is to measure 9 from my fabric, and then iron. Remember, we iron and we notch, right? And then I'm going to fold it this way, and I will measure 12 inches for my pocket. The length of my pocket, what I need is 12 inches by the width, 9 as width, 12 inches as the length, okay. And I'll iron. The first thing I'm going to do first is to cut it off so that it allows me to carefully trace out my pocket line. So just carefully watch and you understand everything I'm doing. Now the next thing I'm going to do is to now trace out this pocket line by first placing it carefully and just follow what I'm doing. All right, now once I'm done with that, I will notch. Remember, we notch. Please notch, very important. Notch as much as you want. Now I'm going to place back this, and then remember, when you fold this, your pocket will be 4. So you see what I'm doing, 1, 2, 3 and 4. So it has to be 4. Okay, so I'll raise only the two pieces of it and trace this way. Trace out the pocket line, just 2 pieces out of the 4. All right, now I'm going to, from this point, I'll mark 3.5, then connect it to the down parts and cut. It's very simple. Once you follow this technique, it's very simple. Now the next thing I'm going to do is now to shape my trouser. Now from here I'm going to reduce it by 1.5. I'm going to curve it by 1.5. I'm still going to show you what this thing helps. It helps your trouser not to be dragging, your pocket not to be dragging the main trouser. This little curve I'm trimming, it helps your pocket not to be dragging the main trouser, to stay on its own when your pocket is inside. Now the next thing I'm going to do is to now curve and stylishly curve my pocket. So I want it to be curved at the tip, so I'm just curving it. You can leave your own to be straight, but I want mine to be stylishly curved. So I just did this, and this is the shape I want mine. So I'll go ahead to indicate the back. Very, very important, indicate the back fabric. Now I will bring my front panel, that's the trouser panel, the front one. But first of all, we notch. Don't forget that we notch, we iron and we notch. Now I'm going to open my front panel, okay, and then start setting it. I'm going to set it on the table before joining so that you understand how it's done. Simply, what it simply means is I'm pairing them so that you see which follows which. So I've paired them. One is for one pocket, the other is for the other side of the pocket. All right, very simple. The first thing you're going to do is to bring out this part, right, and then use quarter, very tiny, to join. Very tiny, even as tiny. You're going to see how I joined it. Quarter, not half. Quarter of half, that's half of half. I've finished joining mine, and then the next thing I'm going to do is to now turn it this way and top stitch. All right, I'll turn this way. You see the way it's facing, yes, and then I'll top stitch. Now I'm done top stitching it. This allows it to smoothly go down, like go inside when you're ironing it. Then the next thing I'm going to do is to bring the cover. I call it the cover. Now this is the cover. Then it's still matching, letting the notches to match each other. Use 1/2 inch to cover, and then I'm going to go and join. So this is it. After doing this, I will weave it. Please make sure you weave. If you don't have weaving machine, try and have weaving machine. It makes your work smooth and neat. Okay, then I'll go ahead to iron. Very important. Now it's because you top stitch, it will naturally go inside. Most people will still want to hold it down, but I do not, because it makes my pockets to look very neat. Okay, so this is what the way I love mine. So most people like to give it line at that part, but I don't. So what I'll do now is to hold it on my machine, hold this side and hold the other side, and I'll still show you. I'm done holding it so that I can stand firm, and you could see what I'm showing you. You see this curve? It allows your pocket to stay independent without not dragging the main trouser when you wear it. Okay, now I'm going to now close by 1.5 or lesser than that, but because we used 1.5 as seam allowance, I'm also going to close with 1.5. So I've actually dipped my hand inside the pocket so that you could see the depth of the pocket. It came out so beautiful. Now for the closing part. Now this is the closing part, right? On the waist, you just retake your measurement, but because I've already given my sewing hour allowance 1.5, I'm also going to measure it to see if 1.5 is actually what is still remaining. But you can still measure your waist. Our waist was 40.5. You can measure it and then trace it all the way down. So I'm going to be closing with, I had 1.5, but now I'm going to be closing with 1.1, no longer 1.5, something lesser. Okay, because when I measured it, it was none lesser. So I'll close that. I'll mark that 1.1 all the way down. All right, I'll do it this side and also do it this side. Now I'm done closing, and then for this area I will use 1/2 inch to close. Now this is dependent on you. You can still, maybe when you're closing, you might decide to make yours smaller. You can now increase your hand while closing. Now I'm done ironing, and the next thing I'm going to be doing is to fix the joggers band. I call it joggers band. So I'm going to be fixing the band on this trouser, and that will be on our next video, because this video is now long. So just watch out for the next video where you can learn how to fix the band. So thank you for watching. Bye.